All right. Welcome back to the channel, Gods and Goddesses in Training. You know you're here for a very specific reason today, for the greatest expansion of your character development, which I'm happy to guide you through. Okay. So first and foremost, I just want to say everything you hear today, please put it into practice. There's a lot of mystical smoke screens and people, you know, using spirituality as a bypass, using spirituality as an escape. That's not our path. Okay. We are Primal Sutra and we understand true transcendence, which is not escape, which is actually a further engagement with the now, with the present moment again, where we're tapping in and we're using anime as a support system. Okay. This is what today is about, using the power of these anime characters to align you with a flow state lifestyle, the principles and flow, and to create an emotional, psychological, and spiritual support system, okay, for yourself. So without further ado, I am going to share this with the tribe. With a little message. Okay. All right, sweet. So anime is such a powerful tool, okay? Specifically, the style of Japanese animation with the fight scenes, you can already understand that by watching one of those scenes, especially as a young man, right, we get sparked up by this. Sometimes even women, right? They see these fight scenes, these anime fight scenes, and you get this inner stability or this feeling of like fluidity that is formed through the scene itself, right? So you could actually natural ground to these different anime scenes where they tap in, right? They activate this skill. They understand when to embody that aspect. Okay. So, oh man, I got to bring out the whiteboard. We got to do it. We got to do it. Okay. Okay. Let's tap in. Amazing. Okay. Saving some of the settings so you guys can comment. All right. Sweet. Let's get it. Anime and flow state mastery. Okay. So the first thing you want to understand is you want to reflect on your inner world and find characters that are archetypes similar to you. Okay. It could be Jungian archetypes. It could be art of seduction archetypes. It could be a character that you invent yourself, okay, that you really resonate with, or a quality that you focus on, that you want to grow. So, for example, the sage, the lover, the hero, the villain, the outlaw, the mystic, the the pioneer. Okay, these are all archetypes, and there's certain anime heroes that mirror these Jungian ideals, right? So by resonating with one of these characters, you're tapping into their specific code, right? So you're encoding yourself with their energy. You're gaining insight and motivation in your own spiritual journey. Okay. So for example, Goku, very common example. Okay. Goku from Dragon Ball represents the outlaw because he's a rebel striving for constant improvement, right? And so you're embracing the energy of resilience during tough times like Goku. So just because you're struggling right now, that just means that you're going through that difficult period where you finally realize that I'm going to make it. So this encourages you to embrace this energy. These archetypes serve as role models that help you shift into an autotelic experience, which are activities done purely for the joy of growth. Okay. Not any other superficial reason. Okay. So that's the first thing, characters as archetypes. Secondly, we want to create imaginary support scenarios. Okay. You could call these parallel narratives. Okay. Parallel narratives. So your imagination unlocks many different kinds of mental simulations, right? Like imagine your inner conflict, like a battle between these two good and evil characters, or maybe you're engaging with side quests that reflect real world problems, right? In a very playful way. Like imagine seeing anxiety as a Titan from Attack on Titan, right? Now you're channeling courage that allows you to deal with that specific emotion that's coming up. So that's powerful. Already, that's very powerful. It's a parallel narrative that is supportive to your personal, creative, evolutionary journey. Okay. So then we have resonance through emotional storytelling, because a lot of animes, guys, okay, have a very emotional storyline, correct? They bring you into that world. They create these emotional highs and lows to create a resonance, making you feel less alone in your struggles. When a character triumphs against impossible odds, you're actually building hope in your real life by observing something like that, even though it's fantastical, right? But the human mind cannot comprehend that, right? It's just seeking that imagination as a part of itself. It wants to return home back to the astral, right? And so Naruto's journey from rejection to acceptance teaches self-love, perseverance. So anybody dealing with, inadequacy issues, they can watch Naruto and gain some kind of focus in their life, right? Which I think is a very, very key. By the way, guys, new merch, okay? Got Primal Sutra on the hat. Let's get it. Upward Spiral. Okay. Many animes incorporate deep spiritual themes, like Full Metal Alchemist, okay? Um, Evangelion, right? Neon Genesis. That explores identity, right? And it expands your perception. Like Mushishi has spiritual lessons about destiny, action, a lot of them. There's spiritual insights from anime that help dissolve ego-bound thoughts. And it makes you more receptive to effortless action. For instance, one of my favorite animes of all time. Okay. Maybe you guys know this. Maybe some of you don't. But this is basically like my life, bro. I don't know how I'm even going to explain this or how I even came to this understanding. But yeah, let's just find some of these images to help you guys through this, okay? Because I like to learn using all my five senses. We're going to talk about seventh sense as well. Okay. Shaman King. Okay, great anime. Great anime. Okay, let's ask AI to sum up. Okay, so I wanted it to emphasize the moral of Shaman King. Okay, so Shaman King teaches that true strength isn't about power alone, but about harmony within oneself, with others in the world. So Yo Asakura, the protagonist, shows that winning at life isn't just about defeating enemies, but mastering peace, internal trust, connection, right? So he emphasizes that success comes when we balance ambition with our compassion, showing that kindness and understanding are greater than just brute force alone, right? So this show actually teaches us that the ultimate victory lies in staying true to ourselves and evolving in unity with both the material and the spiritual realms, and they're both moving together, you know. So he's got to win this shaman, competition, but really it's about overcoming his own boundaries, his own internal conflicts, right, through the show. And he's a very delusionally optimistic character, which I love. I love that quality, and so I will tap into this specific anime at times just to pull from that, just to weave, using my imagination. Okay. Of course, we have Gear 5 Luffy, amazing character. Okay. By the way, if you guys haven't watched One Piece, very epic. Okay. Every character has a nuance, an edge about him or her, But look at this, man. This is someone who's just so wired in that he can't help but smile like that. Just laugh because life is not meant to be taken serious, man. This is the OP feeling, right? This is the trickster being just enjoying the journey. You see? That's amazing. So sometimes there's a lot of, symbolism, spiritual lessons. All right. And we can understand how we can ritualize our anime or create anchor points for our daily flow. Like, let's say you listen to a specific soundtrack for an anime or something, and you re-energize and center your focus by watching familiar scenes that you ground to, that you stabilize your core to, right? You meditate to the scene. So perhaps you're doing Gyan Mudra to download the spiritual information from the scene. There's just the index and the thumb together, touching very slightly. Remember, not fingernails touching, okay? Fingertips, okay? And you see, these little nuances are so key and important, but not a lot of people will focus on it, right? You might have been doing mudras all wrong, right? Your whole life until you just heard that piece of information. But it's about how you integrate it, right? Do you get reactive or do you get creative? Right? My autopilot has always been me defaulting to a creative state. And I've had to train that from a panic state to a creative state, from a panic state to a creative state. I've had to work on that because when you grow up in this three-dimensional world, they're going to give you external motivation and they're not going to give you immediate feedback on things. So you have to kind of guess and move along. And for a flow state Jedi, that's kind of a difficult process because we believe in shared enjoyment, collaboration. However, got to enable creative breakthroughs at the same time. And a specific being that I'm channeling today, I couldn't channel yesterday, but I'm tapping into the Lyran Council. So it's going to be a very epic channeling. Okay. Um, Basically, you can shapeshift into new versions of yourself by drawing from these anime characters that you admire so that you can build a heroic avatar or an alter ego for handling very tough situations, right? Like tapping into Levi Ackerman's, cool demeanor when making a high stakes decision, or, thinking that you can do it, just like, Naruto would. So when you allow anime to fuel your imagination, it becomes more than just entertainment. A lot of your friends are just watching anime, oh, it's just entertaining. It's a way to kill time. I'm seeing it as a dynamic support system for me because I'm creating emotional connection with my mind spirit by role playing and creating rituals that pave the way for my spiritual dream, more flow. So if you're like, I want more of a feeling of I can do it or capacity, right? and that's your theme, capacity, then that becomes a bridge between your mundane world and your personal mastery world, right? And you've got to shape your own journey with meaning, adding meaning to life, right? We talked about absurdism. If life is meaningless, we add the meaning, and then we amplify the joy, and we defend the joy, and we guard the joy, and we create resilience in turn. So you got to immerse yourself into the narrative that sharpens your focus, that elevates the right kind of positive emotions for you, and fosters this spiritual transformation that takes place. So let's think of some examples, okay, through different manga of how flow state shows up, right? Ultra Instinct is one of them, okay? Now, the thing about Ultra Instinct is he achieves this state where his body reacts on instinct without conscious thought. So it's a perfect description of just, if you ever done any combat sports, MMA, you know that this is a perfect depiction of flow rolling, right? In combat. You might have tapped into this, is this unconscious competence, right? The final stage of mastery, where it feels second nature to you. Okay. Then, of course, Naruto Shippuden. Okay. The Sage mode. I love the Sage mode, actually. That was a very interesting one for me. And by the way, I'm not an expert on animes, right, guys? Okay, my background is in flow state science, flow state, an understanding of this mystical state of performance. Okay. And I've dedicated my life to studying it, enhancing it, creating a movement out of it. Perhaps you could say a religion out of it, a way of living out of it, philosophy, where we can actually use it and better our lives. Okay. Okay, so we already have a very similar glowing aura effect that's happening with all of these, right? Including my background. All right. Sage mode. Then we have gear 5, as you're seeing up here. Okay. This is where Luffy enters a very carefree, fluid state where his imagination shapes his reality. Okay. So this is perfect if you're trying to manifest something because you're instinctively like you are breaking conventional limits of battle, and that means mental battle too, right? So you're coming up with like a it becomes an axe and then it morphs into like a hammer, right? And then it becomes a like a shield, and then it's like right? So he's going into this state where his mind is influencing the materia around him. So that's a very flow state essence where he's activated this ultimate key to manifestation, right? And it's through being carefree, being loose, and not grasping to the identity or persona that you've built so hard to build. I worked so hard to create this character. Well, it's meant to be an effortless process because Bankai, right, from Bleach, yo, Ichigo and what was the other guy's name? Yakua, something like that, right? Tapped into this effortless state where their swords and their souls were perfectly aligned. Okay. I'm just looking up an image. Um, not the greatest examples I'm seeing. Hmm. But yeah, this is again this primal instinct, this flow state that you're tapping into, the zone. I'm locked in, I'm tapped in. You guys have been saying this But have you really been exploring this and embodying this? Okay. By what? Reflecting on your wins and lessons, bro. Reflecting on your wins and lessons. How many times do you tap in and you're like, you actually celebrate and acknowledge your wins? And how many times of the days have you actually fully acknowledged what you learned from that mistake, which is a missed take of your life, of your movie, right? Which is not, it doesn't even count in the Akasha. This is all from according to my guides, okay? This is all my perspective. Read the disclaimer. But this is how I lead my life. This is how I move. Because my life is a movie and I got to create it. What about the zone from, well, the Disney movie Soul, right? But Kurokono Basket, right? What about that? I think this one is a very powerful one because it applies directly to athletics, basketball, right? So we're already seeing these patterns show up, right? Maybe they're getting inspired from each other too. But we're starting to get that players enter this hyper-focused state as they're playing basketball and they're performing moves without any hesitation. No fear. They're just so hyper-focused. They're moving like lightning, right? Now, I believe this anime is called Hunter x Hunter. Okay. Hunter times Hunter. And there's this thing called Nen Master. Okay. So this goes really deep, actually. Check this out, guys. So they have enhancement, strengthening themselves or objects, transmutation, changing the quality or aura to match something else, conjuration, creating objects from aura, specialization, unique effect, manipulation, controlling animate and inanimate things, emission, detaching aura from the body. Okay. This is amazing, right? So this is a process of this Nen mastery. Okay. How to tap into this ultimate Nen. So Miriam and Netero in the show. Okay. Like this guy. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, right? Miriu, the Dark Buddha. Have you ever heard of this? Okay. Some of you guys are very new to anime, but hey, you're learning along with me, man. Like this, I'm not super familiar with these characters, but I know of them, right? Because it's my work. Like I've got to know this. Okay. People come to me for help for peak performance, but technically it's my own field, peak performance shamanism. Okay. So this is biohacking by using ancient wisdom, primordial ancient esoteric knowledge to support your transformation and your growth and your goals. Where you think from your goals, you don't try to think about your goals. You see what I'm saying? Okay, powerful. But look at this guy's intensity in his eyes. Look at that Scorpio intensity in his eyes, right? They've reached a transcendental level of skill reaction. What about the 8 gates technique in Naruto, right? They they reach these peak physical states and they push through unimaginable limits just to perform at their best, right? Very powerful, ultimately. Okay, Rock Lee, I think, does this as well, right? So, Mike guy, so they're really tapping into this very powerful flow state. because they're tapping into their limits. They're pushing beyond their natural limits, like Limit Break in Dragon Ball Z, right? Gohan's transformation, when he gets under this emotional, intense pressure and it taps him into this high performance, right? What about Saint Seiya? I don't know if you guys have ever even heard of this anime. I didn't know of it. I had to do research into it. Okay. So he's a saint that accesses the seventh sense, right? You say the sixth sense, this is the seventh sense, which is a profound connection with the cosmos. So it allows incredible speeds, action, strength, intuition to come through. And these saints can predict or react to enemy moves without any conscious thought. So it's similar to Ultra Instinct in that way, right? It slows down the perception of time, similar to Neo in the Matrix, dodging bullets, right? Giving them a sensation of moving faster than light itself. Okay. So let me see if I can find an image of this. This anime is really cool. I have to definitely check this out. Let me see if I can type in this particular move. Yeah, kind of, but it's not the best example. But you're kind of seeing this strange Swamurti. You're getting the self-image work, right? You're understanding that this is a very deep understanding. It doesn't have it so straightforward because it's unlocking true potential, instinctive mastery, and time perception at the same time. You guys are getting that? So this is kind of how it looks. So notice how this one is like a Pegasus type of energy coming off of this guy. And imagine if you had this visualization as you're like going to the mall or just doing something mundane, right? I mean, kids do this all the time, but we ridicule them as adults for this, right? They're trying to live in this world, and we're just constantly telling them, no, we can't. You have to make money. You have to go to the movies today with your brother or whatever they're saying, right? Who knows? So I understand. I get it. The world is out to get your flow state. It's out to hijack it. But that's why it becomes so sacred to me. Because my deep presence, my focus, transcending my own limits, having that effortless execution, everything that's described in the seventh state, then I don't need to think. I'm just acting in harmony with my energy, right? I'm breaking some invisible barrier because when you're in the zone, you go past your usual capabilities. Okay. I was like, whoa, like I did a yoga session and I was like, whoa, I didn't know I could bend like that, right? Or move like that or hold it like that. I didn't know, right? But you did it. But you did it. You know why? Because you transcended it using the mind. Okay. Now there's many TV shows and movies with the flow state too, right? Neo being a great example, reactively dodging bullets and manipulating the environment. John Wick and the fight scenes there, pure flow state, reacting without thought, right? Sherlock Holmes in his mind palace, Jason Bourne, right? Under high stress situations, he's taking these very complicated maneuvers, right? The Last Samurai, right? That Mushin scene, okay? No mind. Doctor Strange, the mastery of magic, reflecting the fusion of mind and spirit. I love Doctor Strange. I have Venomized Doctor Strange as a Funko Pop to help me tap into that, right? Lucy. This is where they get the idea that it's 100% of the brain. But actually, to access flow state, you have to actually shut parts of your brain off. Okay. Which is the complete opposite. Well, let's go with that idea. Okay. I think that's an interesting one too. To tap into your enhanced brain, right? Effortlessly solving problems and even controlling matter at a certain point because you're tapped into the fusion of the ether. I think that's absolutely diabolically righteous. Okay. What a paradox. So Maverick, Top Gun, right? The pilots, they enter flow during their dogfights, during synchronization with the jets, right? Avatar, the Avatar state, Daredevil, he has this heightened flow state. The Flash, I mean, Kratos rage mode, the list goes on, guys. Eddie Mora and Limitless, okay? But we're all getting all of these different perceptions, these different shifts, okay? And these different shifts are part of your own storyline, your own narrative, okay? So, like a Zen master or an alien observing Earth, I challenge us as savage shamans to see the systems that control us, whether that's societal expectations, consumerism, outdated institutions, and question them. Question them. Why is it like that? What's the point of it having been like that? Who decided that? Okay. How do you know? Who sold you that reality? Right? So we're finding the middle path. We're encouraged to avoid extremes, but hover in the middle, using both ambition and wisdom together. But here's where the Gnosticism comes. So in the Anthropos in the fall, right? In Gnostic stories, there's a divine human prototype called the Anthropos. It's a symbol of higher perfection. Okay. Something went wrong, a mistake, a deviation from that ideal. So Sophia, or wisdom, acted without permission, creating a flawed reality and a powerful force called Yaldabaoth. And he's like this arrogant ruler who thinks he's a god, and he traps humans in a world of fear, control, and distractions. Okay. So some people believe we're under this demiurgic rule. Okay. But human beings, we have gnosis, or that divine spark, that Sophia within us, which is our hidden potential to reclaim our power and transcend limitations imposed by the world. So, like Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey, the story reminds us the real growth isn't this fairy tale, right? It's setbacks, betrayal, powerful, painful lessons that you have to go through, right? Most movies just skip the final step, the fall of the hero, showing that pride or hubris leads to downfall. But we need both light and darkness to evolve, right? Just like the yin and yang. So just balance. But it's not really a balance, it's a harmonization. It's a wielding of complementaries, not contradictories, right? So alchemy isn't about turning metal into gold, it's a spiritual metaphor, turning your flaws into wisdom, climbing through challenge by these celestial spheres to unlock your divine potential. That's what it's meant to be. So what if flow state was the philosopher's stone? Right? What if this was what everybody was looking for this whole time? And it was within them and they couldn't even see it, but there would be little glimpses of it, right? Little glitches where they could see it and understand it and come into terms with it, right? Make sense of it. So powerful. Man, I'm cooking. Let me just open the live chat. Yeah. Isaac Natero from Hunter x Hunter Elite. Honorable, strongest in his 100 type. Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. Dang. Yeah. Him when young, incredible. Lived over 120 plus, 120 plus years old. Plus his 4-year scene, training scene. Yeah. Wow. Conqueror's Hockey. Is that an anime? Conqueror's Hockey? Oh, from One Piece, yeah. Hmm. Definitely. Wait, are there any other moves like that you guys know? That's awesome. That's a cool one. Sheesh. Wait, let me see if I can save this. Okay. Yeah, man. Wow. It's got that similar red vibe that we got in Primal Sutra going, actually. Very interesting. These are actually alchemy colors. They use it in Full Metal Alchemist too, right? The red, the black, the yellow or gold, you know? It's symbolism for that, the transformation, essentially. Okay. And we are taking the middle path. That's how we're able to tap into the 0 point and then get this, flow state mastery going. Okay. So this is gonna become like ancient artifacts, lost ancient artifacts of the internet, like years after this, right? People are gonna watch this like, dang, this guy really was breaking out flow state through anime and pop culture, huh? Anyway, do you guys have any questions or do you guys have any characters that we can explore through this lens of wiring yourself in, being completely just evolved in your element, just crushing it? Oh, I love this diagram actually. I'm gonna post this somewhere. This is quite possibly one of the best diagrams that I've ever seen. Okay. uh, if you're nerdy about this stuff, you're geeking right now. Okay, look. This is really it. Okay. We have the Saiyan forms. Okay. We have the Saiyan forms, and then somewhere along Super Saiyan Grade 4, we get access to these different archetypes that split off of these archetypes. And right? So then we can achieve the godly form, angel. Okay. God, but high powered. Then you've mastered Ultra Instinct. Now you're beyond, you've transcended into Turiya, past it even, right? But here you're going primal, Ikari, Uzaru, right? Golden Uzaru, Super Saiyan 4, okay? And you have Super Ikari. You have Super Saiyan 4, okay? Then you have Super Saiyan 2 giving off Super Saiyan Rage and Super Saiyan 3. You see what I'm saying, guys? So, if you notice the godly forms goes to Saiyan gods, Kai, right? Kaioken, Super Kaioken, Super Kyoke Blue, okay? Kai into ultimate, godly form into God, Hakai powered angel, okay? This is so powerful to just see it like this because this is kind of like different versions of flow state, right? So some people are more deep thinkers, right? Other people are more, they tap in through being like a crowd pleaser, like they play to the audience, right? And then they tap into flow state like that. Um, there are many others that are more so just athletes or adventurers and they go for the high sports, right? High adventure sports. Some are just like flowing, like yogis, for instance, just going through the motions, creating the flexibility and the agility, still maintaining the strength, you know. But yeah, being able to tap into your own flavor of this, right? Your own sane form, but in real life, you start to understand that your life becomes way more interesting, right? You start getting way more tapped in and it's exciting, right? It's exciting to yourself, it's exciting to your senses. But this is why and where the discipline comes in. And we call it blisscipline because when done in the right way, repetition leads into a rhythm and a trance-like state, which leads you into the zone. Right? And then we have a recovery process, and then we're back in the zone again. You're not just focused on feeling good, you're focused on feeling good with intention. Okay? You're the guiding principle, right? You're moving it slightly, you're refining it, using the way that you think about it in your mind. Okay? So this is really the next level of this. Aizen, okay? Okay. Let's see. Aizen. Aizen from Bleach. He definitely knew what he wanted. Right? Transcendence beyond the Shinigami and hollow limits. He wanted to reach an evolved state where he could control fate itself, right? So, of course, despite he had godlike ambitions, he didn't stumble in his ego though, in the traditional sense, right? Because his confidence stemmed from this absolute mastery, which is a concept that transcended him. So his flow became so deep that his identity shifted beyond human or Shinigami or hollow, right? So Aizen moved so smooth that his opponents remained frozen, right? By comparing themselves to Aizen, he's always the one step ahead. And that's the effortless control, right? Because Aizen controls his environment flawlessly. He manipulates reality around others and mirrors how flow creates mastery over your surroundings, where everything aligns to the favor of the observer, right? So there's this dark side of flow, the twisted flow too, because Aizen's flow is dark and detached. He becomes too immersed, and he loses all connection to others. So his pursuit of perfection turns into isolation, showing that mastery without meaning can make flow dangerous. So Aizen not only reflects the light side of flow, but also reflects the dark side of flow. When you push mastery too far, you become disconnected from humanity. But flow is powerful, and true mastery integrates both humility and skill, right? It's a crumbling down of the sense of self so that it can be built to its most greatest version, right? According to who? According to you and God. That's it, right? There's nobody else. Maybe your parents could influence you, sure. Your friends could influence you, sure. Okay. Mentors influence you, absolutely. Okay. However, I definitely don't want another copy of me. I want you to find your version of you through Primal Sutra. Let Primal Sutra attach onto you like a symbiote, enhance you, and you move with your own version, right? Someone takes that Primal Sutra essence and they move into one realm, one universe, right? The Tao of Badass. Another realm, right? The Solar Samurais. They go their own way, right? Another version. The spiritual baddies come in, right? They start a movement of their own, goddesses in training or something. They move with it. Okay. Then we have it's like the Winx Club, but they call themselves the Jinx Club, right? So they're Fae, and they're badass. And then they started their own movement, right? And then some get inspired by the darker side of flow and the manipulation aspects of flow, right? And then they move into their own world. You see? So Primal Sutra is a collective, something you can branch off of, right? That's how I was understanding it originally, because it's a philosophy, it's a movement. Someone who's living in just, AT or IT, and just he has no idea about any of this stuff, right? He's coming across a video, but he really likes Dragon Ball Z, right? And he wants to get those powers, right? And that's all he has reference to. But he doesn't know that once he starts practicing or doing something with his own skills, his own energies, his own talents, he's going to start to tap in, right? He's going to find his own way that he locks in, way that he taps it. You have your own tap-in process, right? Maybe use essential oils, you rub it on your skin, maybe you just start chanting, right? So I think I had one example actually. I don't know if I have it written up here. Yeah, creating a tap-in protocol. So let's just say you tap into a power of one of these beings, okay? This deity. Let's see, Aizen. Aizen, open the gateway. Let the flow lead, please. Play binaural beats in the background. 3 power breaths, 1 exhale. Aizen, flow is on. Quick shoulder roll. Forwards, backwards. Ready? Fighting stance. Maybe you can now dim the lighting. Green tea by the side. Sip on the green tea as you feel into this energy. You, my friend, you just created a tap-in protocol. Okay? So what is this step by step? You got to set your intent, anchor your why. Why am I choosing to tap in? Is it for work? Is it for creativity? Is it for meditation? Right? Is it for coaching somebody? Why do I want to tap in? Choose a meaningful anchor phrase to start whenever you want to get tapped in. Mine is just this noise. So this is what I do before every video. Okay? It's an anchor. Or you can choose something like flow, aligning, or command the moment. Okay? And then you can align it with a similar archetype like Hermes for communication, Yondu's for transitions or decision making. And then you choose different sensory triggers. Let's say you play a morphic frequency or a mantra, and you use the audio cue like a snap or a clap or a code word, right? Let's go. Okay. Tap your wrist, your chest, tap your third eye. A small 3 taps tells you what? That you are now accessing the energy of, well, my tiger over there, Timbo the tiger, my stuffed toy tiger's energy. If he was a spirit guide, how would he look? His specific shape, his place in that universe. I'm going to place that trigger and focus on him opening a doorway into an energy vortex of flow state. I'm going to imagine my stuffed toy tiger from 10 years old when I bought that thing, and I'm 31 right now, right? And I still have it as a reminder of me transmuting and transcending my childhood state to be able to access this playfulness as an adult, right? So I've gotten rid of a lot of other soft toys and so forth, right? Yeah, burn the boats, burn the bridges. I've kept Timbo, okay? Because I understood that this was a connection to Chief Deno later on. Timbo, Deno sound very similar. Both have the double syllable. Timbo, Den-O, right? And so our brain and our breath and our body wants to dictate our state. right? Your physiology dictates your state, how you're sitting, how you're slouching, how your posture is, right? So if you imagine you have dragon wings or seraphim angel wings, right? You will just completely autocorrect your posture. It's amazing, right? That's amazing. That's an autocorrect. What if you have a mantra that you say that shifts your mind instantly? And you have to say it in a specific rhythm. Choo, 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 choo. Like you're creating a trance for yourself, right? A quick trance state by shocking and invoking the internal world, right? Janus, open the gate. I'm tapped in. Breathe fire, stay water. Unstoppable. Okay. You light a candle. You enter using a special corner of the room. Okay. You reserve a particular, Gatorade or ginger ale or something for yourself to associate with that flow state. Okay. I'm not saying use these crutches. Don't use like, energy drinks and all this stuff as crutches, but you can use it as reinforcements, right? Small rewards that each time you complete the tap in successfully, you have micro celebrations, micro positive self talk, you know? So the small wins get journaled in the Akasha. You get what I mean? The small wins, they start to continue and stack, and the Akashic records are just absorbing it. So at first, you observe what works and what doesn't, and then you tap and you track your tap in consistency. What are you using the same steps every time? Like you just need that one Kendrick Lamar song and you're there, right? Or is it that you need to create a tap in protocol? Okay. Open the gateway, Ichigo. Let flow state lead. Ichigo Bankai. Track the environment, please. Engaging tap in process now. Maybe you put on some red lights, right? You're hearing some warble noise in your headphones. And you're putting yourself through this kind of psychedelic speaker effect, right? On a video where you're going through this intergalactic portal, this gateway. Right. And now you're like, Ichigo, connect with my heart chakra. What's wrong with my heart chakra? He says, needs to be more presentable, needs to create more decorative tendencies or something, right? What does that mean? You ask it further. You don't stop there, right? You ask it further, you ask it further, you ask it further. Ichigo, create ease in my heart space, please. Thank you. Okay. Isn't this powerful? Because now this protocol reflects your personality, your energy type, the purpose of your life. And when you've created your own routine, it's automatic. It's just like a sacred entry point into your peak state whenever you need it. So now you don't need so many complicated steps of a tap-in protocol anymore. Now it's just about going Wawakigo or something like that, right? And you're just there. You're just there automatically, you know? Yeah. Complete hypnosis that is now innate in me. People are now in my field and they're influenced by it by default to all. This was manifested by my subconscious. Yeah. My obsession with Aizen led me to having his power. Dope. You see? So that's actually how it works, though, because these characters, they start forming an egregore, a thought form in our minds, and then they start working through us. They were similar to the way we work with deities, right? It's a similar understanding, but we're using it as a fictional character now, which is now changing the game, but we're still understanding the same principles, right, that come into play, which I think is an amazing process. So we're finding our own resonance code, right? What really puts us in the zone, what really turns us on, not like superficially, right? Not like what is expected. That's the normative way of doing it. In fact, yeah, actually, you need to stay for that extra rehearsal. If you really want to have a good performance, you got to stay at the extra rehearsal. But then you have this one guy who's like, priming himself before he sleeps, wakes up, creates his own like kind of unique dance protocol, right? Where he unlocks the trauma from his body. And then he goes into having like an espresso shot, right, at the office. And now, as soon as he's done that, he's put on his headphones and listened to some crown chakra activation files. And by the time he's at the meeting, he's spewing ideas like he's like a mental combination of Thor and Loki together, right? Because he's already primed himself with that energy. But people who don't know how to do this, they're just showing up to work. Oh man, this sucks. I have to go here again. Okay, yeah, I guess so. All right, here we go again, right? It's that energy. But with your imagination, you don't have to carry that normie energy with you anymore. This is the freedom, right? Because you can remain playful and childlike in your own imagination. Nobody has to know that shit, whatever, right? It's your own internal world and it's your own internal creation, which makes you feel a certain way, right? It embodies your state. It makes your state different. You start to walk differently, talk differently, act differently because you've given yourself permission to do so. You see? So you have to give yourself permission to tap in to these different anime characters and understand what are practical, real world ways that I can use Gear 5, or I can use Sage Mode, right? Or I can use the Zone, or create your own version of it. When I was watching the Venom movie, I was noticing all these different colored Venoms. I didn't know that was possible before that movie, right? I always thought Venom was just black, right? Not as black in that way, but just pitch black, jet black, right? There's green ones, there's blue ones, there's purple ones, there's man, imagine a purple Venom, right? Dang. Okay. Now we're thinking differently because now it's like the more this is the future, guys. I'm telling you. I customized this hat to say Primal Sutra. That can only be done in Thailand, right? But this is where the future is moving to, is customizable, accessorizable things, right? We all want it our way. And this is why AI is paving the way for all of this, right? So we're going to have to start creating these worlds, creating a bridge for these flow state characters, deities, different things that can give people a roadmap, a way forward. They can actually use Goku's energy and not be, sidetracked by his one storyline on Namek that didn't make sense. And now he's in an internet forum, digging up different ways and how that didn't work. When it has no real world application, right? That's not what we're doing, right? This is not about creating a fandom. Okay, this is not about, you know, going to Comic-Con. This is a different process. This is an art. Sort of like theater or acting is an art. This is also an art. Okay? It's character yoga, charisma yoga. We got to use this stuff to tap in. Okay? And it's very powerful because when you and the character are one, you think like them. Your mindset becomes like them. Okay? Beware right now because the veil is thinning. Okay? In Halloween, there's a lot of dark forces and energies that are out and about. So you got to use salt. Okay? It's a very basic minimum. Either salt on your skin, sea salt soap. Okay? Himalayan pink salt, anything. Just have it around your environment. Have some kind of, you see, to connect with the mystical realms, there you need smoke in any kind, right? So if you have incense or you have some kind of a way that you're burning something, but you're not necessarily that you have to inhale it, right? It's that it has to burn because the smoke is representative of the mystical world, right? The mystical realm, the ether realm, because it's right between fire and what is invisible, that is the air, right? It's creating the smoke. And so oftentimes you might see when you're doing invocations or different things, you might see certain faces in the fire or the smoke, right? The form out of the blue. And that's sometimes very, very advanced, but it does happen, it does happen. So be very cautious with how you're using fire and all the elements, actually, how you're using water, how you're using fire, how you're using air, how you're using earth, your own flesh, your own body, right? Your human body. Are you taking care of your temple? And I get it. We all need like ways to ground ourselves if we are very crown chakra oriented. We have a lot of downloads coming through. We have a lot of insights in our third eye. We have a lot of great ideas and expansive ideas. We need to ground it back down, feel it through our feet, wiggle our toes with the information so that we embody it. Okay. Anybody can talk about these animes from just a heady level, right? But it's another thing altogether to actually, tap into Gohan's energy, right? It's completely different. A summary, can I have a summary? Um summary is basically this. Find a character that's an archetype. Let's say you're tapping into the energy. Huh, Ashipore. Okay. Find how it reflects your inner world. Create an imaginary support scenario where they're supporting you. Okay. Find spiritual lessons and symbolism in anime. Ritualize the anime. Use anchor points for your daily flow state. And imagine that alternate persona as playfully rewriting your identity and helping you support yourself in different situations, right? Like, let's say you're more of the playful Gear 5 Luffy, right? And you're tapping into that self efficacy as you're reaching the flow, right? Or something like this. So you have to allow the anime to fuel your imagination and make it greater than entertainment and use it intentionally as resonance, like a flow state tool, right? So use it to sharpen your focus, use it to uplift your emotions, use it to foster more of a spiritual transformation. That's basically the summary, okay? As I wrap up. Submitted my visa to NZ. Epic. Awesome, man. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tapping in. I think I'm going to end it here. I got to get going, but let's